Want to find out how major successful billionaires spend and invest their money to create even more? All they do is, hey everybody, welcome to Make Money from Home. Today, we're going to look at a list of major successful billionaires alongside their backgrounds, earnings, and statistics to show you how they are investing their money. Make sure you stay to the end for exclusive news and tips. For now, let's dive into the finance world of billionaires. Being part of the global billionaire class is beyond the imagination of most people. At the threshold of $1 billion, a 5% return would yield an annual interest payment of $50 million without ever touching the principal. But how billionaires invest, from those in the single digits to the near top, shows a range of options for the very wealthiest in the world. One thing they all have in common is a large amount of money in cash or equivalently liquid securities. Here's a look at how 10 billionaires have made and invested their money, according to public filings gathered by the financial research firm WealthX. It's going to be a good one, and who knows, you could be the next billionaire. Bernard Arnault, chairman of the LVMH Group. Estimated net worth $38.1 billion. Bernard Arnault, 67, is the richest man in France. Trained as a civil engineer, he got his start in business from his father, who had a successful construction company. He shifted the focus of his father's company to real estate and then turned his eyes to luxury goods. Through his Groupe Arnault, the silver-haired Parisian sits at the helm of the luxury goods companies Christian Dior and LVMH, Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton. He's also a major art collector, having acquired works by Pablo Picasso and Andy Warhol. How cool is that? His vast wealth sits predominantly in companies he controls. He has $38.4 billion held among Christian Dior, LVMH, and Carrefour, a French retail chain. The next largest distribution is in cash at $2.9 billion. This is money from salaries, dividends, and holdings that give him liquidity when he needs it. Then comes the homes. He has a mansion in Paris worth $55 million and a home in the Bahamas worth $30 million, as well as yachts and his art. His wealth shows how a single concentrated position in a company can increase your worth tremendously. Steve A. Ballmer, former chief executive of Microsoft. Estimated net worth $30.8 billion. Steve Ballmer, 60, scored a perfect 800 on the mathematics portion of the SATs and punched his ticket from an elite private school in Detroit to Harvard University. In his sophomore year, he lived in the same dorm as Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft. In 1980, he dropped out of Stanford University's business school to start working for Gates. He was paid $50,000 a year, but given a stake in the brand new company. He rose to become chief executive in 2000, a post he held for nearly 14 years. Shortly after stepping down, he bought the Los Angeles Clippers basketball team for a record $2 billion. The team had been mired in controversy with its previous owner, Donald Sterling. Even though Mr. Ballmer left Microsoft, the vast bulk of his wealth remains in the company's stock, $21.4 billion. He also has $7.3 billion more in cash. It makes his stake in the Clippers seem paltry. He also has $450 million in Twitter shares. He owns a $14 million home in Hunts Point, Washington, and properties in Whidbey Island worth about $4 million. It seems he certainly knows what he's doing. If you're looking to invest anywhere, make sure throughout this video to take notes. If we can help you or inspire you, that's our goal. Make sure to check out our other videos too. For now, let's continue with the list. Suzanne Clatton, Deputy Chairwoman of Altana. Estimated net worth $20 billion. Suzanne Clatton, 54, is the richest woman in Germany. She can trace the source of her wealth to the ultimate driving machine, BMW. Her grandfather founded an industrial conglomerate that owned the German automotive company and had a stake in its more staid rival, Daimler-Benz. The company also owned the chemical giant Altana. Her father, Herbert Quandt, took over the family businesses when his father died in 1954. When he died in 1982, Miss Clatton received stakes in BMW and Altana, of which she is now the sole owner. As her father was credited with saving BMW from bankruptcy, she is credited with making Altana a top company in Germany. She's also chairwoman of the SGL Group, which produces graphite and carbon fiber products. Her wealth is tied up in her companies, with over half, or 12.1 billion, in the BMW Group. An additional 16% is in Altana and 1% is in the SGL Group. She has 22.5% in cash. She has a family office that creates privacy around the breakdown of her wealth. What would you invest in if you had that much money? Let us know in the comments section. Azim Premji, chairman of WePro. Estimated net worth $10 billion. Azim Premji, 71, was born into the family that started Western India Vegetable Products, which produced hydrogenated oils. When Mr. Premji was at Stanford University, his father, who started the company, died, and he left college to take it over. At 23, he became chief executive. He diversified the Mumbai-based company's offerings into soap and baby care products. In 1981, he ventured into information technology. The company boomed through the 1980s and 90s, and in 2000, the renamed WePro went public in New York. In 2009, Mr. Premji handed over the day-to-day running of the company. He devotes his time to philanthropy, having given half his WePro shares to a charity that supports education and health causes in India. His wealth appears to remain fairly concentrated, with 64% of it in WePro shares. An additional 13% is in a related company, WePro Enterprises, and 20% is shielded by his family office. Public records show that he has a $20 million stake in JM Financial, which is about 0.2% of his wealth, $180 million in cash, and $1 million in property in Mumbai. Given his total worth, his properties and holdings are probably much greater, but he has structured his wealth to protect his privacy, which is understandable when you have all that money and assets. Carlos Alberto Sucapera, director of 3G Capital. Estimated net worth $8.6 billion. Carlos Alberto Sucapera, who turned 69 this year, hails from São Paulo, Brazil, which ranks just behind New York City, where he keeps a residence, for the most billionaires in the Americas. He began his career in finance at Banco de Investimentos Garantia. He later served as chief executive of Lojas Americanas, a Brazilian shopping chain. He is a founder of 3G Capital, a private equity firm that has become known in recent years for partnering with Warren Buffett, the second wealthiest man in the world, on deals like the acquisition of Heinz in 2013 and 2 years later, its merger with Kraft. Much of Mr. Sucapera's wealth rests in a series of deals 3G did with breweries starting in 1999. He has a $5.8 billion stake in the combined Anheuser-Busch InBev, which accounts for nearly 67% of his wealth. He has nearly $1 billion more in 3G itself. He still holds a $220 million stake in Lojas Americanas, where he remains chairman. He has an additional $1.6 billion in cash and a $2.5 million apartment on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. How crazy is that? What's been your favorite story so far? Disclaimer, quickly, if you're enjoying the video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and let us know what tips and videos you want to see next. We would love to hear from you. Cherie Harrison, owner of the Harrison Group. Estimated net worth $5.6 billion. Cherie Harrison, 59, was born in New York, but splits her time now between Tel Aviv and Miami. Her father, Ted Harrison, started Carnival Cruise Line in 1972. In 1990, he moved back to Tel Aviv, where he was born, and established Harrison Investments. It later acquired Bank Hapoalim, Israel's largest bank, and renamed itself the Harrison Group. It has investments in finance, real estate, infrastructure, renewable energy, and water. When her father died in 1999, Ms. Harrison inherited 35% of his wealth. She has a brother, Mickey, who owns the Miami Heat basketball team. As an owner of the Harrison Group and as a philanthropist, she promotes good deeds. The investment group's motto is, "Doing good is good for business." And through her charity, she has sponsored Good Deeds Day, which encourages people to volunteer. Ms. Harrison's wealth is divided fairly evenly among the different investments. She owns $1.6 billion in stock in Carnival Cruise Line, $1.6 billion in stock in Bank Hapoalim, and $1.1 billion in the Harrison Group itself, and holds $1 billion in cash. She has a stake in an Israeli housing and infrastructure company and homes in the Bal Harbor section of Miami and in Tel Aviv. Ma Jian, executive chairman of Xinzhou International Group Holdings. Estimated net worth $4.3 billion. Ever worn Nike, Adidas, Puma, or Uniqlo? Those items may have come from one of Ma Jian's factories. His company is the leading textile manufacturer in China. Mr. Ma, 52, has been working in the textile industry since a teenager and later earned a master's degree from Zhejiang University of Technology. His father, Ma Bioxing, was chairman of the weaving company that became Shenshao International Group Holdings. In the late 1990s, the younger Ma took over the company and increased its revenue and net profit by 23 times in 7 years. A member of the Chinese Communist Party, he is an official in the Zhengzhou Provincial People's Congress. The exact composition of his wealth is hard to determine. He seems to have about $340 million in cash, though, with the rest in Shenshao International Group Holdings. He earns a well-deserved spot on the list. Patrice Motsepe, Executive Chairman of African Rainbow Minerals. Estimated net worth, $2.1 billion. Patrice Motsepe, 55, was born in Johannesburg and began his career as a lawyer with American firms in South Africa. He attended university and law school during the apartheid era and practiced law for 6 years, becoming the first black partner in a South African law firm. In 1994, after Nelson Mandela became the country's first black president, Mr. Motsepe quit law to start Future Mining, a mining services company. With that as his start, he began acquiring mines and other mining companies. By 2004, the accumulated entities became African Rainbow Minerals. He owns the Mamelodi Sundowns Football Club, a soccer team in South Africa's Premier League. And last year, he started a private equity firm and financial services company. His wealth, which places him among South Africa's richest people, is well diversified. The largest portion of his wealth, 36%, is in cash and its equivalents. He has nearly 30% in African Rainbow Minerals, and a similar amount in Sanlam, a financial services firm of which he is deputy chairman. Some 5% of his wealth is in the Harmony Gold Mining Company. 2 homes are worth $7 million, or 1/3 of 1% of his wealth. Peggy Cheung, co-founder of the Panda Restaurant Group. Estimated net worth $1.5 billion. In search of quick Chinese food? Panda Express, with its 1,900 locations around the United States, is where they serve some up. Peggy Cheung, 69, founded the chain with her husband, Andrew. When the restaurant began expanding from Glendale, California, into the full-fledged chain it is today, she used her science background to make the business tech-savvy early on, and then applied her knowledge of logistics to streamline the process. Ms. Cheung, who was born in Myanmar, then Burma, was raised in Hong Kong and met her husband at Baker University in Kansas. She holds a master's degree in computer science and a PhD in electrical engineering, and began her career at the defense contractor McDonnell Douglas. She and her husband live in California. Her largest holding is in the Panda Restaurant Group, which also owns Panda Inn. It is worth $1.2 billion, or 77% of her wealth. Nearly 19% of her wealth is in cash. She also has a large position, some $60 million, in the Golden Eagle Retail Group, a real estate development company. The rest of her wealth is in her 3 homes in California. I mean, why not have 3 homes when you can afford it, am I right? It's no wonder she's so successful and was mentioned in today's video. So if you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos of how to make money from home and much, much more. Check out this video, and I'll see you soon. Take care.